What's good, YouTube? TP Unlocks bringing you guys another quick little live session today. I don't anticipate very many of you popping up. It is pretty early, actually. I want to say it's about 8 o'clock on the Pacific time. Here in Texas, it's about 10 o'clock. I'll be starting work here soon. But, before I got started with my day, I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I properly celebrated the Hip Hop 50. Like a lot of you guys out there, hip hop has meant a lot to me. I remember some of the earliest hip hop I was listening to faithfully was Ludacris. Y'all might remember a catchy tune, "Use a Hoe," or throwing in bows. You know what I'm saying? I come up, from that era where, we were listening to Nelly, country grammar, 90s baby, man. So, I was listening to obviously Biggie, Pac, MF Doom, you know, um, I think later on into adulthood, I got into more of the Nas and the Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt. But man, hip hop has meant a tremendous amount to me. I actually used to rap myself. Still call myself somewhat of a, little wordsmith. Still to this day. But hip hop has meant a lot, man. Hip hop has meant a lot for a lot of us. It's provided us opportunities to, provide for our families, through being a rapper, other jobs like agents, managers, etc. It's been a huge asset, I think, to the African-American community. I think there's some pros and cons. Obviously, it is not a perfect industry by any stretch, but we definitely appreciate hip hop for its 50 years. The anniversary was August 11th, 1973. I was born in 1991, so I don't know nothing about no dang 1973, but I will tell you that was a long time ago. And the reason why I wanted to make this video was because I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of a clip from LL Cool J. LL Cool J has a very interesting take on how you construct your hip hop top 50. One thing that I always find that's interesting about this discussion is how, there's different philosophies that people take. There's people that believe that you should look at it subjectively, where your top 4, in this instance for Mount Rushmore, should be based on what you actually listen to, what actually produced the impact for you. When you think about something like music, it really is a time capsule. You can hear an amazing song and it puts you right back to the moment that you were experiencing that song. So I can look at some credence to that as well, where there are other philosophies, purist philosophies that, believe that you should be paying homage to the forefathers, in true fashion, in true testament to what a Mount Rushmore should indicate, right? Those forefathers, those people that are, have really paved the way for the art form, right? And make sure. So we're gonna definitely we're gonna look at that clip, and I'm gonna let you guys know my take on that. Mine is a little bit more nuanced. I can definitely see where you would want to pay homage to those forefathers, but with an art form like music, being relegated to honoring everyone having to honor the same forefathers, it just sounds a little boring. I don't know, man. That sounds a little boring. But let me show y'all what LL Cool J had to say on this matter.
Bases on it. Look, man, I just keep it simple. To me, when you talk about like a real Rushmore, and you talk about the shaping of the culture, you have to look at
audio. Okay.
It's first principles. It's like anything else. You break it down to first principles, right? And you got to put DJ Kool Herc. He started the shit. He ain't on Rushmore. He just started it. Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. This is something I did. Okay. And then you have to put Run DMC up there, because they kicked down the doors and the walls and, put me on their back to a certain extent as well. And I was the solo guy who went out there, got shot out of that, cannon, right? And then you have to put, Flash and Mel. Because he made he made us dream of the culture, the DJ, the art of the DJ, the idea that a DJ could affect culture and move culture. Flash made us do that. And then you got to say Mel, because he was the first original prolific writer that wrote songs that were beyond just the not just the bragging, because the bragging was very important. See, now, you know, we got all sophisticated and we look down on the bragging. But like I said earlier, the bragging was our way to get out of our turmoil and out of that drama that we were in that inner city. That's the core.
The Mount Rushmore of hip hop to y'all. Who would be the four?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, y'all. I pressed mute. This damn that mute button is ridiculous. I pressed mute, and man, that thing is supposed to be flashing, and it was, but my bad, y'all. Essentially, what I was saying is that LL's take is the purest theory, right? And as I mentioned previously, the purest theory is one that can be boring for a lot of people. Don't nobody want to hear about the same four forefathers being honored, you know, because people want to honor their memories. People want to honor the music that they love. I can't stand Lil Uzi Vert and NBA Youngboy, but to some kids out there, those artists mean the world to them, right? Those artists are shaping their reality right now. They experiencing their first kiss with these artists. You know what I'm saying? Your first kiss to Lil Uzi Vert, I feel sorry for you, because, you know, one of my first kiss was to the Isley Brothers, right? You know, but these kids, you know, subjectivity with an art form like hip hop, I think is very, very important. What up, Giselle? What I also think is very, very important is, you know, honoring the forefathers, right? And so honoring the forefathers, it may not mean that they need to be on your Mount Rushmore, but it could very well mean that those forefathers are, you know, just someone that you acknowledge as you construct your list. Because for me, I got to be honest with y'all, dog. I'm not somebody who's familiar with, you know, all my OGs, my hip hop founders. You know what I'm saying? LL was talking about Melly Mel, you know, Run DMC and Flash and Cool Herc and all of, you know, Melly. You know, I would love to say that I know all those people, but as a, you know, 31-year-old born 1991, I hadn't really listened to those. You know what I'm saying? I grew up listening to, you know, obviously your Biggie, your Tupac. I'm glad you caught one. I'm gonna try to do these Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we'll see how this goes, man. I'm trying to be consistent with this brand new page. A little bit under the weather right now, but yeah, I grew up listening to, you know, Big E, the Tupac. But in terms of my Mount Rushmore, my personal Mount Rushmore, it might sound something a little bit more along the lines of, MF Doom, Lil Wayne, Andre 3000. And if I only get one more, dog, I mean, I'd have to really take a beat to think about that, because that's a lot. That's a lot of weight. Probably one more pick there, but that would be my personal, Mount Rushmore. And the reason that would be my personal Mount Rushmore is because those artists are ones that are on consistent repeat. They had the most impact for me, and they really shape what I know and believe to be hip hop today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these are artists. When I tell you, I know their lyrics by heart. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who grew up, you know what I'm saying, in the Drought 3 Wayne era remembers. I'm cool like a midnight in Aspen. I am a president and the assassin. Everybody remembers that, man. Everybody remembers Lil Wayne when he went, what'd he go? We are ER no B4, and I will straight up destroy any boy or man, and I pre for money images or just read for. We are your money images. I am the leader. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. We have one person in common, Andre 3000. Andre 3000, man. I could do Andre 3000 lyrics off top. Let me think one. What's one? Styles will change. They say change is dangerous. As a king standing on the terrace and his partner pointing up at the rifleman. Coward shooter never knew when your life will end. Then live like that. Y'all get it, man. That's Royal Flush with him, Raekwon. Some other people. You got MF Doom. I sell rhymes like thumbs. The one who always keep cash but brag about the joke broker times. These artists mean a lot to me. And so if someone was asking me to put together a top 4 and I couldn't include these guys on my top 4 list, it would be ridiculous. You had that Stank on your album when you were 10. Man, that Outkast was the world for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't the biggest Outkast fan. I wasn't actually the biggest Outkast fan because some of the songs, coming up, I was back in that era. I think I was still leaning more towards Ludacris. Throw them bows, Cadillac grills, Cadillac mills. Oh, don't you like my Cadillac? You know what I'm saying? Or use a hoe. Like, that's what we was listening to back in the day. Around the time Outkast was really bubbling, really that kind of like that kiddie rap. And then around the time, around middle school, it was Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy had really taken. Middle school, high school was a Soulja Boy era. Obviously, Bow Wow and Romeo had their eras, I think, in elementary school. You know what I'm saying? But as I grew up and got older, MF Doom, like in middle school, later in middle school, like 7th, 8th grade, MF Doom was like all I listened to. And he actually was the bridge to, get me more interested in Andre 3000. You know what I'm saying? I think high school, I was really into the Love Below for sure. Yeah, Luda was lit. He always had lyrics, always underrated, if you ask me. Even now, people don't really list him. But in terms of the hip hop Mount Rushmore, man, it's really tough. It's really tough because I'd almost say that you really have to you almost have to honor decades, right? Like if we were to honor this last decade in hip hop, in terms of a Mount Rushmore, who would y'all think would be the Mount Rushmore of this last decade, right? For me, I think you got Kendrick, you got Cole, you got Drake, and Future. For me, for this last decade, I think the decade prior to that, you probably have Wayne, Nicki, Drake, Jay-Z. I mean, shit, I don't really know. But it's tough. It's tough decade to decade. It's tough decade to decade. You know what I'm saying? I think with the way that music is progressing today, it's almost tough to even juxtapose certain artists together, right, on the same list. Because when you talk about hip hop, I think Future for what he does, is a tremendous artist, right? I think, the melodies, some of the timeless lyrics, some of the catchy hooks, I think, have been huge. Future, I mean, it's almost like he's got his own pillar in hip hop. I know they got a lot of flack, for some of the content, him rapping about lean and not really being on lean. And I think I would offer those same critiques. I'm not the biggest Future fan, but his impact is undeniable, very similar to that. And like the Chief Keefs of the world, you know what I'm saying? There's just so many different varieties of hip hop that you would almost have to create branches. And I think that's why it's so important to honor your subjective list. Let's say all that, I'm rambling, but I think that's why it's so important to honor those subjective lists, right? You can look here at the comment section. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, KRS-One. I mean, you can't go. I don't think you can go wrong with this type of top five, right? You got Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. You got all these old heads, right? And for the construction of hip hop, it makes sense. Now, ask me how many of these artists I've actually listened to, or how many artists I listen to on a day-to-day basis, or have ever really listened to on a consistent basis. None of them. I'm a 90s kid, so my top five are Snoop, Andre. Ooh, Snoop's good. Andre, DMX, Jay-Z, and Ice Cube. That is a good top five, Patricia. That is a great top five. Snoop, I had a Snoop era too. It's funny, I only got 4 that I can name, or 5 I can name, I guess, but Snoop I'd have to consider. Andre 3K, definitely. DMX, oh man. DMX is definitely up there. You know what I'm saying? I forget what the name of that album was. I think it was he was in All Red. I think that's definitely the one that I prefer the most. Jay-Z is tricky to me. Jay-Z is a lot like how I view Kobe Bryant, right? For a lot of people, Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace. For a lot of people, Kobe Bryant is like, the second heir to the throne. He's the next in line for GOAT, right? But for me, Kobe was kind of a guy who was in the league, and he was definitely viewed as the best at certain points. But there were also other people that were looked at as the best too. You had AI, you had T-Mac, you know what I'm saying? You had a lot of people, Tim Duncan, you had a lot of people that we were looking at, KG, as being at top of the league for certain, little stints. Shaq, shit. So that's kind of how I view Jay-Z. Jay-Z is kind of like one of those where it's like he kind of gets a lot of credit for longevity, and he, with the Kobe analogy, he got chips. But while he was doing his thing, there were always guys like Lil Wayne, Ludacris, hell, even Nelly, DMX, people on your list that were sharing that spotlight with him. I think his stature rose once he got with Beyonce, if you ask me, boy. It's hard. You cement that presidential legacy once you get with Beyonce. And then Ice Cube, you got to give Cube his credit. Cube as a filmmaker, hip hop artist with NWA, one of the original. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if somebody put him as the one of the forefathers. You know what I'm saying? Definitely deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Here's an interesting question, and I'm gonna say this in exit because you're a New Yorker. You don't got Nas as a New Yorker. Yeah, you know what? I can understand why you wouldn't have Nas though. One thing about Nas, like I love the last couple albums. I think his output in these last few years has been tremendous. I think he got like 5 or 6 albums he's done in the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all might have to correct me later. But in terms of his like overall like the sonics of his records early on, the beats weren't always the best. Just be honest about that. I wasn't really trying to like unpack the Nas science and mathematics. That really wasn't my vibe. He reminds me a lot of who I was just going to bring up to you guys. Eminem, an artist that is technically skilled. He's got the ability that none of us None of us have. I mean, to even fathom what Eminem does on records is ridiculous. But he's one of those artists, the lyrical miracle sphericals, where I think hip hop is sort of outgrown a bit, right? I think right now we're in that mumble rap era. We're in that mumble rap phase, but it's not so much that we're in the mumble rap phase. I feel like the mumble rap has sort of taught us a little bit more of how to appreciate some of the melody. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the things that Outkast helped bridge the gap for. Um, but with the South and the Southern draw, being more catering to that bounce, you had to start putting more care into them aesthetics, them 808s, you know what I'm saying? When you have the advantage of being able to rhyme more words together, all that stuff counts in music making, and when you got artists, that are so lyrical, miracle, spherical in your swimming pool, you know what I'm saying, that aren't catering to those melodies. I want to say prime Eminem for me was when he was, I want to say, I'm kind of highest mountain, green and yellow, purple. That was probably peak Eminem for me. Slim Shady Eminem, probably. You know what I'm saying? M in my top 10. Love the Slim Shady. Yeah, Slim Shady era for sure. For sure. But he's one of those where it's like you can appreciate their skill, but in terms of their rap aesthetics, the music, the aesthetics and sonics of their music, are not always conducive to, repeat listens. People give those critics, some people have that critique of, Kendrick. I would disagree, but hip hop is interesting in that way. You know what I'm saying? There's people that are lyricists that can destroy, lyrically, but they're terrible with making songs. I've got some people on my list. I wouldn't say are terrible at making songs, but like a Black Thought. I don't even know if y'all be listening to Black Thought, but Black Thought with a pen is ridiculously talented. Ridiculously talented. Oh, it's that Atlanta Mount Rushmore. I don't know, man. Pastor Troy not being on there, some people might be mad. But you know what I'm saying? I think hip hop is just so interesting in that way, man. And I think, that's my point, bottom line being that when you're honoring your hip hop forefathers, it's okay to, honor subjectively. It's okay to honor the artists that you truly love. I do think that we all have a responsibility to understand who our forefathers were. I'm not saying that you got to be, bumping, Run DMC and Cool Herc and Melly Mel and Rakim. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you got to go to your iTunes and download that stuff, but at least know who they are, so that you can understand how we get to the point that we're in. Understand who has paved the way and who has opened those doors, for artists like Lil Baby or Kodak Black and the artists, what I'm saying, who are able to do what they're doing now. A lot of us think about the Sexy Reds and the Ice Spices, but they're not here without the Lil Kims and the Foxy Browns. You know what I'm saying? Or the Salt and Peppers. Lil Baby's not here without the Lil Wayne. Uzi Vert's not here without the Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Common. There's a lot of artists. Drake is not here, without artists like Common and LL. So y'all kind of get my point. Answer this question. Who's your favorite out of the female rappers? Whew. Boy, we should have started this with this question at the top, Patricia. My favorite out of all the female rappers right now, I think that's really, really tough. Because I love Rhapsody for her skill. I love Rhapsody for her skill. I love Lady London for her skill. I think Nicki Minaj, in terms of stature, I think she's like the Jay-Z of all this, right? So I think if I had to anoint a person who is queen, I would definitely have to say Nicki Minaj. But do I like her music? Not really. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of tricky. I enjoy some Doechii stuff. Doechii's cool. Amaretta is pretty cool. Who I really, really do like, Patricia, but who is batch crazy, but who I think is really, really talented, Azalea Banks. Azalea Banks is actually really, 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 really nastily underrated. And I don't really listen to her faithfully, but I've listened to a couple songs and just her flow, wordplay, song construction and everything. She's got kind of like the total package. People just kind of sleep on her because of her antics, but Azalea Banks is really, really, really talented. But yeah, you said that's the first. Azalea she's talented. I don't really listen to Azalea, like I said, but I took the moment to kind of analyze her rap skills, and I was like, oh nah, this girl can really spit. I'm telling you, if you like hip hop, you know what I'm saying? If you're a hip hop head, go take a listen to some of Azalea Banks just lyrically. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, she's not bad, but she don't got nothing on Rhapsody, obviously. And then Lady London, obviously, those are wordsmiths. I like No Name as well. No Name is pretty good. She actually just dropped an album. I love, like, she's got like an impressionist poetry type vibe to her that just is amazing. Is amazing to me. You can hearing that translate in art in the music is amazing too. But yeah, female artists are tough, man. I'm not a person who does the Ice Spice, the Sexy Red, the I think they call it pussy rap now, coochie rap. I don't be doing that. I don't do the coochie rap. For one, it doesn't really make sense. Glorilla, I think she got a song out that I think I like. I might have liked F Ninja Free. As of today, Nicki and Meg of all time is Lil Kim. Ah, yeah. Lil Kim, you got to give Lil Kim her flowers as a foremother. Damn, I didn't mention Lil Kim. That's crazy. Meg is an interesting one. Meg is an interesting one. I don't listen to too much of her stuff. But I do remember when she first came out, she kind of gives me a little bit of a DaBaby vibe. Kind of like the flow is kind of very similar, very much the same. And I feel like I've heard her before. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't give me the type of bar sophistication of like like a Rhapsody. But I do think she makes catchy songs and catchy music. I'd say she's not so much in the coochie rap. I'd say she is coochie rap, but she can do a little bit of both, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? She can rap about the coochie, get in the bag, and the same old same, but she can also kind of get into a lyricist pen bag. I mean, I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing against Meg, man. Meg, she had a rough year. Her mom passing, getting shot. The way that she did, people, kind of speaking bad of her. I mean, when she came out, people were talking about, her needing a fashion style or a fashion stylist. Because I don't know if y'all remember the first couple photos of Meg, but folks was making fun of Meg for how she was, pulling up to red carpets and events. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go see them tweets. I ain't making that up. So to see her rise, I love it. But in terms of her music, I can't really do that, Patricia. I ain't really listen to, Same thing with Cardi. It's like I don't got nothing against Cardi, but like I'm never listening to the WAP, And I think what it is, Patricia, I also got young daughters. So a lot of the stuff that my daughters are listening to, I sort of become fans of because of the utility of the word. Like I can use it. My daughters can use it and be encouraged. Like that new Chloe song, I probably would never listen to that new Chloe song. Angel, you're an angel, 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 angel. All that. I probably would never listen to that joint. But because I got two little girls, yeah, man, I'm listening to that song every single day now. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm a fan of Chloe, or not Chloe, Holly as a result of it, I can't really be as big of a fan of Chloe because we can't really listen to, some of the stuff that, I mean, I don't let my girls listen to some of that stuff. I can't, I don't know. I just think that there needs to be balance. And I think, with some of those grown, and sexy artists, they're gonna have to stay on the grown and sexy aisle. I probably ain't gonna be listening to them, Ironically enough, as I say in closing, your boy is listening to R&B right now. I'm listening to Mac Keen and what's another guy? What's that guy's name? And Esta. That's what I'm listening to right now. Mac Keen and Esta. I'm listening to mainly R&B. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to that new Victoria Monet album. You know? Really not into today's rap like that. I feel like I force myself to listen. It's just too much. It's too much music. It's just way too much music. And I think, you know, the way that it's consumed, the way that people are choosing to rap, you know, a lot of people are just doing it right now for the money. You know, it's a bag. You know what I'm saying? It's a look. Even if you are a struggling rapper, it's cooler to be a rapper than it is to work at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? It's cooler to be a rapper than to, you know, be in the army to a lot of people, you know? So everybody thinks that they can do it. Everybody's trying to do it. And, you know, it is cheapening the art form a little bit, Patricia. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because some people, you know, when you got a bunch of people rushing to do something because there's money in it, what you start to see is people doing it just for shock factor. It's kind of like virality right now. You know, there's really no integrity to what you're going to see people doing to go viral, because, you know, when one person does it, you're going to have to be more outlandish. You're going to have to be more, you know, provocative to get the same or generate the same impact or have the same impact of virality, right? So I think we're seeing that replicated in hip hop. You're seeing more and more nonsensical artists. You're seeing people being more and more flagrant, more and more vulgar, more and more, you know, unserious about it. And I think it gets attention quickly, you know. And so, you know, I think that just makes it really hard to want to consume it. Like, it's funny too, like artists like NBA Youngboy are considered huge. Like, they're very, 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 very popular. You know, in today's climate of hip hop. And I can't stand NBA Youngboy. I can't stand it. Like, I can't listen to it. Like, same thing with like artists like NLE Choppa. Like, it's cringy to me to see an artist that looks like he comes from like a perfectly like happy family rapping about murder, murder, kill, kill. Like, maybe I'm just old, you know, because I grew up listening to the 50 Cents and all that stuff too. But it's like now, bro, with kids being 31 years old, I ain't got it, bro. Y'all can have it. Y'all can have hip hop, dog. I'm gonna listen to my little Sade, my smooth operator, smooth operator. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna listen to my Anthony Hamilton. You know, my Music Soul Child, my Neo Soul, my Jill Scott, my India Ari. I ain't cancel you, India. I was rocking with what you was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to my Smooth, my Snow Allegra, my Alex Isley. You know what I'm saying? My Claudia, what's her name? I forget her name. But I'm listening to that stuff. Joe Thomas, Jaheim, pre-Republican Jaheim. You know, that's what I'm listening to. I'm keeping my vibes nice and easy and flowy, chill. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about no murder before lunchtime. I don't want to be sitting at no desk pushing paper, listen to you talking about spinning the block. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. But you guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this live rant. I'm gonna be trying to do a little bit more of these. I'm gonna try to do a few more of these, you know, to just kind of build up the momentum of the channel. Obviously, you guys can hear that I'm sick. I'm pulling up, you know, so like the video, subscribe to the channel. More is going to be coming. Right now, I think we're going to be trying to do lives Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every morning. Talk about whatever comes to mind, man. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with you guys. You know, talk about the topics. Today was hip hop. So, you know, just get to know you guys a little bit more, one video, one live at a time. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys for pulling up. Patricia, it was me and you. You know what I'm saying? It was a two-piece today. It was the TP and Patricia show. I appreciate you pulling up, Patricia. All right. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good rest of y'all Monday. Peace.